Hi again, everybody, and welcome to our 2015 National Signing Day special here on OhioDominicanPanthers.com. This is Todd Bell, and joining us now is the head football coach of Ohio Dominican, Coach Bill Conley, whose team this past year made it to the third round of the NCAA Division II playoffs, just a couple of steps short of getting to a national championship game, of losing to the eventual national champions in Colorado State Pueblo. Coach, thanks for the time today. It's a very exciting day for you today and your coaching staff, National Letter of Intent Signing Day.
You know, it really is. We look upon the recruiting season as kind of a season in itself, Todd. And, you know, you're playing the games in the fall, and you're making the phone calls and writing the letters and things like that, and having recruits come to your campus. But actually, after the season is over, you finally get to get into their homes and their schools and talk to them face to face and those things. So it's been it's been a very exciting January, and we think we're signed a really outstanding football class.
Now, we're here to talk about signing day, but this is the first opportunity you and I've had to sit down and talk since the end of the postseason. Can you reflect on that 3-week run and really what it was like and what it's meant to this program?
Well, it really is special because, first of all, we went further in the playoffs than ever before and end up number 4 in the country. That tells you that we're heading the right direction. And again, as you said, you know, we lost to the team that won it all. And, you know, we had a chance in that game. You know, time kind of ran out late, but the 31-28 game. And you have to use that as a recruiting tool because you miss some time being out recruiting, but you make it up by the success and use that as a huge recruiting tool when you go into homes and schools.
2 of those 3 playoff games were against teams way out of our region, even though they fit in our region somehow, having to go out to Colorado. But you were able to see the teams that those schools were playing on film, playing up against those types of teams. Did that change your vision at all about the types of players that you would maybe look forward to recruiting in the future to keep on that national stage? Yeah,
and I think the one thing it proved to us that we are on the right track. Because you look at Colorado State Pueblo, a phenomenal team, really good team, big physical guys that can run. And again, after the initial first quarter, we really played head-to-head battle with them. Held them to 70 yards total from the middle of the way through the second quarter on. So we know we're heading the right direction. And the other schools, I think, by playing schools like Colorado School of Mines and like that, we proved that we really can compete with anybody. But, you know, to win it all, to win the national championship, you know, you have to really have a great run at the right time, and I think that was the key. We were playing our best football at the end of the year, which you really need to do, and then hopefully just keep progressing and progressing. And again, because Colorado Pueblo won the national championship, you know, it proved that we're not that far away. But the GLIAC conference, I mean, it's like playing in the playoffs every week because everybody is so good.
You had mentioned a little bit earlier about the fact that because of the deep run, it shortens your recruiting time, but I imagine going into the homes, bringing those players on campus and talking to the families and being able to show them highlights of playoff games had to be a bonus.
Oh, it really did. And by being on the national media exposure that long, really helped out too, because now we're a national name. Everybody knows who Ohio Dominican is. You know, a few years ago, you know, because we haven't had football that long at all, and Division II just within the last 5 years, everybody really kind of knows who we are now. We probably have a nice preseason national ranking, but it doesn't mean anything until the end of the season when it's all about. But obviously those successes you do use a lot in recruiting, and because we had such great coverage, you know, it really has been a great way of publicizing our program.
What can you tell us about this 2015 recruiting class? Without getting into all the names, of course, all that information is available at OhioDominicanPanthers.com on our football page, but the makeup of this class, what were we shooting for?
Well, you know what? That's a great point because, as you know, Todd, we didn't graduate a lot of players. We only graduated a very small handful of starters. So we have a lot coming back for next year. But saying that, there's certain things in certain positions you have to make sure you fill. One of the areas which we wanted to hit was our offensive line depth. So we got some more players there because you can never have enough offensive linemen. But I guess if you had to describe, the main goal was skill players. Because those are guys who hopefully next year with a year under their belt can step into the roles of some of the young men that will be graduating. Plus you use those guys so much on special teams. And so when we look at half the class was made up of what we call skilled athletes, which are your wide receivers, some running backs, defensive backs, linebackers, guys that can play a lot on those special teams. And the other part of that was because we'll be graduating Brent Wally and Mike Snyder next year, our 2 specialists, we need to bring in some depth there. So we'll have at least 1 punter and 1 place kicker in this class, and some other guys that can do some of those duties also.
Very key to do that. Coach, I've noticed when you look at in the past years, always have recruited Columbus very well, obviously Central Ohio, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. But I also noticed in this group you've touched every corner of the state of Ohio. So it's not just focusing on a couple of different areas in the state. You really do branch out all over the state of Ohio.
Exactly right. As a matter of fact, one of the areas which we were excited we got some players from this year is that northwest quadrant, because that's an area that the Michigan schools recruit very heavily, as well as the Ohio schools. But you're right. You know, the big 3 C's, Columbus and Cincinnati and Cleveland, and really did exceptionally well, we think, in the Cleveland, Cincinnati this year, because you know, some of the players that met our needs were there. We did a really good job, I think, of you know, bringing those kids on campus. And you know, Southern Ohio, we did a good job bringing some of those guys from down around the river who, you know, really tough guys. But overall, great balance, and even a young man from California. So, you know, we'll take him for where we can get him. But, you know, it's a good mix of class position-wise. It's going to end up being, you know, somewhere by the end of the day, we'll be in the low 30s. By the end of the complete recruiting process, we'll be right about 40 athletes coming in. And a pretty good mix again. Half the class will be defensive players and half the class offensive players when it's all said and done. That includes that athlete category and a few specialists. So really we met the goals at each position we needed to hit.
I find it interesting, just to go back a moment, you talked about players who may be ready to go once they get here. Has your opinion or thought changed since you took over here at Ohio Dominican, the whole redshirting process, or has it still remained the same? Because I think if you look at the last couple of years, there's been 3 to 5 guys who've been true freshmen who've come on and made an impact for your football team.
Exactly right. You know, we really use the same philosophy that we've had forever, and really the same one we had at Ohio State. And what we try to do is we tell a young man, we don't even talk about redshirting. If it happens, it happens. We want you coming in August ready to go. And we know if we can get those guys coming in, pushing the guys who are already here, everybody's going to play at a higher level. And that competition within the team will help us better overall.
What's next for Ohio Dominican football now? I know you've got the recruiting pretty much wrapped up. You kind of, I imagine, getting the game plan put back together. Spring football is very, very close. Exactly
right. The first goal is to finish recruiting, because in Division II, unlike Division I, you can go all the way through the month of February. So, you know, we'll still bring in some more players and add to our numbers, and obviously to the quality also. And at the same time, we start preparing for spring practice, which will start the 1st of March. So it's a never-ending battle, but the gears shift to other priorities at certain times. So we're excited. And the nice thing about also recruiting so many players from the state of Ohio, it allows them to get here some for those spring practices, and they get to watch and learn and do those types of things, so that the scheme and the system is not something new to them.
All right, Coach. Well, congratulations not only on the previous season, this recruiting class, and we already look forward to 2015.
Well, thanks, Todd. We really appreciate the great job you guys did for us during the season, and as well as Scott Miles, our SID, does a super job promoting our program, and we're just excited to be where we're at right now.
Yeah. All right. National Signing Day still going on. Make sure you check OhioDominicanPanthers.com for updates of all the incoming freshmen that are coming to Ohio Dominican. For head coach Bill Conley, this is Todd Bell. Thanks for being with us.